Jamaica recorded 82 new cases of COVID-19 on Sunday, according to the Ministry of Health and Wellness. It brings the total number of COVID-19 cases on record for the island to 11,792. Meanwhile, recoveries increased by 144 on Sunday, bringing total recoveries to 8,098. There were no deaths linked to the respiratory illness on Sunday, which means the overall death tally from the coronavirus in Jamaica remains at 273. Of the newly confirmed cases, 42 are males and 40 are females, with ages ranging from 3 to 90 years old. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew, 20 cases, St. Catherine, 19, Westmoreland, 9, St. Thomas, 8, St. James, 7, Trelawney, 5, St. Anne, 4, Clarendon, 3, Manchester, 2, St. Mary, 2, Portland, 1, St. Elizabeth, 1, and Hanover, 1. There are 16 moderately ill patients and 14 critically ill patients among the 3,267 active cases now under observation in Jamaica. As part of the Ministry of Health and Wellness national drive to slow and stop the spread of COVID-19, a team from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, along with other health officials from Western Jamaica, held an awareness drive in Montego Bay, St. James on the weekend to sensitize and place persons on their guard as we approach the Christmas season. Parish Health Promotion and Education Officer at the St. James Public Health Services, Julian Grandison Mullings, in speaking with our news team, explained that a team conducted free COVID-19 testing along with educating persons on how they can protect their family while enjoying the festive season.
For today, we have done a road march. We have come from the courts area as well as the city center, and we converge on the square where we demonstrate our messages, mask up, our casket, and different messages that we have displayed. We have been conducting COVID testing, and we have been distributing hand sanitizers as well as mass distribution. We want to say to the people of Montego Bay that COVID is not something to play around with. There are a lot of persons who do not believe that there is COVID, but we have the testimonials of persons who have experienced it, and their message to you is that you need to take the necessary precautionary measures. Wash your hands and sanitize. Make sure that you are staying the physical distance. Ensure that you wear your mask properly and stay home if you are unwell. So for this Christmas coming, we want you to stay safe and keep your family safe. And by doing that, you will ensure that we go through this pandemic in a safer way.
Medical Officer of Health at the St. James Public Health Services, Dr. Francine Phillips Kelly, explained we should ensure we take every precaution to protect ourselves and everyone around us.
Along with several of our colleagues across the island, we're trying in this season of COVID to have a Christmas COVID impact on our country. We have a triple threat at this time of COVID-19, along with influenza and dengue. All three viruses, the viruses that cause all three conditions, are around in our country at this time. And we are imploring our citizens, we are appealing to all that we go through the particular precautions for each one. For dengue, we had dengue for 18 months or so, and we would have said those messages over and over. But let me remind everyone that we are to be checking for breeding sites for the Aedes aegypti mosquito, and we are to clear those breeding sites at least once a week from our premises. Remember, this is a domestic mosquito. It is right here, right in our homes, in our offices, and if we would please just look for those breeding sites and reduce them, remove them. For those persons who have stored water, ensure that your water is covered so that the female mosquito doesn't have the opportunity to lay her eggs along the edge of the water surface. If you must have water stored, then make sure it's in a covered container. change the water in the vases, change the water in the flower pots, ensure that there is no breeding.
Dr. Phillips Kelly further pointed out ways in which we can prevent COVID-19 and the flu.
For both influenza and COVID-19, they can be prevented by wearing of masks and being distant because they are spread by droplet. Both of them spread by droplet, and the droplets would come from laughing, sneezing, coughing, and even singing. So let us, as we approach this season where we are always festive and merry, it is our culture to be festive and merry at all times. But let us be careful in our celebrations. Let us try to maintain the 6 feet or more distance. Let us wear the mask so that we can remove the droplet spreading. And let us remember always to sanitize. Wash the hands frequently. Wash their hands if they are visibly soiled. Wash their hands after being in a public space. If there is no soap and water, then 60% or more hand sanitizer or alcohol can be used for the cleaning of surfaces. At this time, as we go into the Christmas season, let us ensure that we are not gathering in many groups of persons. It has been recommended by the Ministry of Health and Wellness that there is no more than 10 persons gathered at a time. At this time, there is also a campaign for masking up before talking up. And remember, if we adhere to these regulations, we will be able to reduce the spread of COVID-19 virus as well as influenza. And if we do the mosquito breeding intervention, then we would reduce the spread and the occurrence of dengue fever in our country.
In other news, a police officer who reportedly shot and killed a resident in the rural St. Anne community of Glasgow near Alexandra yesterday was attacked by angry residents who set his motor vehicle on fire and also burned a house which is said to belong to the officer's female relative. The deceased has since been identified as 43-year-old Glester White, alias Craig, also from Glasgow district in St. Anne. Reports are that White had single-handedly repaired a water tank in the community at his own expense, and since then he has been asking members of the community to contribute to the maintenance of the water tank, as this is where they all acquire water from. On Sunday morning, he and the policeman's relative got in an argument allegedly over the way in which persons were treating the water pipe which leads from the tank, and White reportedly used a machete to chop up a bucket belonging to the woman, who in turn called the policeman. The officer drove to the location, and during an argument with White, he allegedly pulled his firearm and shot the now deceased, who was in the company of his common-law wife and 2 small children. He was later taken away from the scene by other police officers who arrived on the location as the angry residents staged a fiery protest and demanded justice. Based on various accounts from residents, the events unfolded after White allegedly denied access to a water tank to 2 small children yesterday morning. The incident has sparked outrage from citizens who shot down the suggestion that White had attacked the officer. Some of them went on to allegedly set fire to the policeman's car and the house of his lover. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is probing the incident but have not yet provided any details. The Jamaica Constabulary Force Narcotics Division is reporting that follow-up operations conducted in the wake of Thursday's multi-billion-dollar cocaine seizure at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston has resulted in another major drug bust and 5 men taken into custody in Kingston. Reports are that between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. yesterday, a joint police and military operation was conducted in Patrick City, Kingston 20. During the operation, a premises was searched and over 100 pounds of compressed ganja with a street value of Jamaican $400,000 was found in 2 bags. 5 persons at the location were also arrested. The management of the Narcotics Division say that the recent success are due to collaborative efforts between local and international law enforcement entities. The National Water Commission (NWC) says it is making good on its warning as it has started enforcing a massive and widespread disconnection drive to collect outstanding payments from customers who have arrears with the utility company. Over 100 communities across the island are being targeted in the new aggressive disconnection drive. Delinquent customers are being warned to pay for it or lose it, as no community will be spared from this initiative. Customers with outstanding balances are being encouraged to pay up in full to avoid being without water supply during the holiday season. During the week of December 14, customers in the following listed communities are scheduled for disconnections and are being encouraged to make good on their obligation with the NWC. These are the parishes of Manchester, Hanover, St. Thomas, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Hanover, and Portland. Communications Manager at the National Water Commission (NWC), Andrew Cannon, pointed out that last week was a busy week as they went to different parishes to carry out disconnections.
We have been busy so far with the disconnection drive. We have been in a number of communities in the corporate area and communities also in rural Jamaica. All right, so last week was a rather busy week for us. We were in Manchester where we carried out disconnections in Knockpatrick's, Waltham, Mandeville Proper, Bailey's Grove, Christiana. We also carried out disconnections in St. Elizabeth in areas such as Hopewell, Black River Proper, Santa Cruz, and Treasure Beach. It will be another busy week for us because several communities across several parishes have been targeted. Parishes such as, again, Hanover, Westmoreland, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth. It is very important that I stress and emphasize that at this time, and any other time for that matter, the NWC would rather collect than disconnect. But those who are non-compliant, they really leave us no choice but to carry out the massive disconnections at this time. All right. And the word is always, if you owe a big bill, if you have a huge bill, since we would rather collect than disconnect, come in and let us talk it out so that we can have some kind of arrangement so that there can be a settlement of the arrears.
Meanwhile, the NWC is reminding customers that non-payment of their bills could affect their credit ratings. Yesterday, in an effort to clean up the town of Lucy, the Member of Parliament for Western Hanover, Tamika Davis, along with stakeholders, business owners, and residents, came out to give the town a facelift ahead of the Christmas holiday. Our news team visited the area where a number of volunteers were in the town painting sidewalks, monuments, and other sections of the roadway, along with repairing sections of the road. In speaking with our news team, Ms. Davis pointed out that this is the constituency's Labor Day project as part of the major projects that were earmarked to be completed within 100 days of her being Member of Parliament.
There are some major projects that we had earmarked to be completed within the first 100 days of my taking office, and this is one of them. This Lucy Labor Day, as we have dubbed it, sees us painting, cleaning the streets, cleaning the drains, and the volunteers are here. They are sweeping. We are giving Lucy a remake, a touch-up. We are ensuring that the town of Lucy is clean, not only for the Christmas, but for beyond. And this is something that we want to ensure continues, because it has always been said that the town of Lucy is dirty. And we don't want that. We are moving away from that. And so today marks the first day of many that will see the cleanup of this town. This is separate and apart from other works that we have undertaken within the town and on the outskirts, on some of the communities outside of the town.
For his part, Councillor Edwards, Councillor for the Lucy Division, in thanking all the contributors of this project, explained that this was financed and accomplished by the Member of Parliament, business operators, and resident volunteers.
We decided that, based on what is happening here in Lucy, the unsightliness, we just couldn't take it anymore. So we decided that, hey, we are going to make this a Lucy Labor Day, where we can clean up the area. So those who are passing through this space can now say Lucy is a clean town. In the same breath, we want to thank all the stakeholders within the town of Lucy who saw it fit to assist us, be it cash or kind, to make this a reality. It's a new day in this section of the hemisphere. Lucy is now on the map. And in a couple of days, you're going to realize that Lucy has now become the cleanest town in Jamaica, thanks to the initiative of our Member of Parliament and myself and those workers who came on board. And let me just tell you something. There are those out there who are suggesting that we got monies from central government. Far from the truth. We asked the stakeholders for assistance, and they came on board. And all the persons that you see working today are actually volunteering. And let me say it again. They are volunteering because they know that central government cannot do everything. And so the people, us, we have decided that we're going to come together and make this happen.
One resident, in seeing what took place, says he wants to commend Miss Davis on the work she's doing to keep the parish clean.
This morning, we are here volunteering, cleaning up our town and giving our town a facelift. I am very, very proud of the new administration that the people have selected, because in a short time, we have seen changes. We see people working, volunteering, fishermen receiving gifts from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fishery. Mr. Mika Davis, who's the MP, mean us good.
And those are the stories making news. I am Tamar McHale. We will now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.